So today I'm going to talk about peace, 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 or we could call it Om Shanti Om. It's the song that really talks about peace, where we see peace not only in ourselves, but in everyone else, and sending that peace to the universe out there. So I am knowing best day ever, yes? Waking up that way and remembering that it is the best day ever, and getting into those spiritual practices that are so incredibly important. So making sure that we are tuning into ourselves and being at that space of peace, because it's really easy to get caught up into our monkey mind chatter and not be at that peaceful space. And I don't know about any of you, but sometimes I've acted out in ways that I regret later. Anybody else? Yeah. I always say the react and the respond. The react, or am I responding appropriately and lovingly and peacefully? Because if I want peace in the world, it has to start here. And the more we have the peace inside of ourselves, it ripples out, because we are an individualized wave in the ocean of life. So in that individualized wave, we want it to be loving and peaceful. I was thinking as my kids were growing up, you know, if you have your kids and you're driving down the road and you do that stop and then you try to hold to keep them from falling. So I had my youngest son, Andrew. Oh my, can't believe he's 38. I was obviously 12 when I had him, right? So he's 38 now and lives up in Oregon. And I'm driving with him. We've stopped at Starbucks. I've got my Starbucks. I've got Andrew, and I'm telling him a story, and I can see out of the corner of my eye that he's smiling. And I said, "I've told you this story before, haven't I?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why didn't you tell me? You could have stopped me." And he said, "Well, you like that story." Oh, we like our stories so much. So I'm driving, and I have to do one of those fast stops. And I protect my Starbucks cup. And I see this face. He's just so sad. It's like, well, times have changed. You've got a seatbelt on. You're fine. Sorry, priorities. The Starbucks was important. So finding ways to make sure that we are responding appropriately rather than that knee-jerk reaction. If you go to the doctor's office and they give you medication, they say, "Oh, you're having a reaction to the medication." That is usually a negative. Or if they say, "Oh, you're responding to the medication," that's a positive. So we want to make sure, rather than the negative, we do the positive and respond appropriately, which means making sure that we are practiced up. Taking time to meditate every day, taking time to visualize every day, and stay focused on that. I was speaking the other day with somebody about how the pain pushes until the vision pulls. And it's really easy to have that vision, and I'm guilty of this, have the vision over here, but it's comfortable right here. So we don't step out of our comfort zone until it gets uncomfortable. Till it gets painful enough that, okay, I really do have to move into that vision. The vision of peace, the vision of love. And sometimes just being in that space and loving ourselves, it's like, can we love ourselves to the next level? Can we stay in that space of peace and know that there is peace inside of us and something wonderful is unfolding regardless of how it looks? That there's no good or bad, it just is. I have some quotes on peace from Ernest Holmes. Peace in different realms, physical, mental, and cosmic. We believe in the individualization of spirit in us, and that all people, all individualizations are part of that one spirit. So if I'm part of that one spirit, then the more I'm at peace and love and harmony and goodness, the more it spreads out into the world. So I want to be in that space of peace. There was a wonderful story about this young inventor. His name was Leo, and he lived in this town called Pushia. And everybody was, hurry, 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 go, 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 push, 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 get it done, get it done, get it done. He was so caught up in doing everything that he was doing. And so as he's inventing this little rocket, It was a little rocket bike. He wanted to make it go fast, and it blew him way to the outside of town where nobody had ever really been, and he saw this other town. And so he went to this town, and he's like, what is this town? It seems so peaceful, so loving, so kind. And the gentleman that was one of the elders of the town, he said, the name of this town is Vizhnya. Vizhnya. And you must be from Pushna, because that's push, 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 go, go, go. Where here we just focus on the vision of what it is that we're wanting. Because the minute we get into fear, or I got to hurry up and get it done, get into the way of life, then we're not focused on the vision. So whenever you get into that space where you're not focusing on the vision, he gave him a seed, and he said, I want you to plant this seed. It's your vision. Could be a giant oak tree. It could be a beautiful new life for you. This is the vision. So when you get into that anger, that frustration, that hurry up and get it done, take a moment and come back to the vision and focus on the vision. And so Leo went back to his town, and he planted his seed, and he told others about his seed. It's like the more we can plant our seeds of vision for what we want, the more we step into that picture. Again, pain pushes till the vision pulls. So if we keep focused on the vision, here's the vision, because it's really easy to get into that scarcity and to stay in our comfort zone. I know I've talked about my sister before. It's really funny because she's on I shouldn't say funny. I have 2 practitioners up in Apple Valley that are on an Alaskan cruise. Well, my sister's on a cruise too, same ship, Princess, but they went to Anchorage and they're coming down. So I got a picture the other day. I said, I think your sister's on this boat. Said, wave at my sister. It's like the synchronicity of life is just amazing and wonderful, how it shows up. So knowing that life is synchronistic and something wonderful is going on, and have I taken time to meditate, to affirm, and to really make peace with myself? Because if I'm not at peace with myself, then I'm not going to be able to see peace out there. So how am I supporting peace within myself? Which means loving ourselves to the next level. I had somebody the other day, she said, oh, I'm so excited and so happy with myself. I looked in the mirror and told myself that I'm successful, I'm powerful, and I'm beautiful. And she said, even at 85, I'm doing it. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how old you are. You are successful, beautiful, and peaceful, and a brilliant part of the universe. It's us stating it, claiming it, and remembering it. Ernest Holmes talks a lot in The Science of Mind about the universe conspiring for our highest and best, always. The universe never leaves us. The universe is not sitting there waiting for our gratitude. Our gratitude comes in that space of, that's for us, because then we become a different vibration when we're in that gratitude space. So Ernest Holmes says this, peace stands at the door of our consciousness and awaits our acceptance of it. It's already there. However, it does not stand outside the door, waiting for entrance, so much as it stands inside, waiting to be expressed in everything that we do. If the possibility of your peace were dependent upon some external event, some outside circumstance, some objective fact, then you would not have a principle of peace within you. You would merely be hoping that one might either develop or be imposed eternally. So nothing is happening outside of us. It's happening all inside of us. So how are we taking care of our inside? How are we noticing that? How are we standing in that space of awe? You know, just the fact that we're here, it's amazing and magnificent. And the things that we can do, being spirit expressed, staying in that space of let me keep clear on my vision, let me know that peace is right here in me and that there's that space inside of me that is beautiful and has never been touched by anything. So I want you to think about this. If you dropped something, would you think, oh no, gravity's not going to work? We would just know it works, right? Just like the universal law of mind, that if we state it, we create it. If we keep focused on it, it expands. But I know that gravity works here just as it works here, just as it works here. I'm not thinking, oh, it's going to float away up into the ethers. It's going to work every single time. Same thing with electricity. We're going to plug it in. When you turn your lights on, you know lights are going to come on. Otherwise, we're going to figure out, okay, is it a new light bulb? Did the power go out? What's going on? But the power is always there, the power of spirit. And so letting our light shine. I want you to take a moment and just close your eyes for just a moment. And just taking in a deep cleansing breath. I want you to imagine that you're just turning on a light switch inside yourself, which is turning on your light. And maybe your light has a little dimmer. And that we get a chance to just turn that dimming light up and make our light bigger, brighter, even better. So that when we go ahead and open our eyes, we feel the light, and it's like it's all within us. And so go ahead and open your eyes and feel the light that you are. And I want you to think about this all day long. How will you shine your light today? Because we get into the namaste. And it's like, if I can be in that love peace, harmony with myself, then it's going to be everywhere out here. And if I can start noticing it out here, then it's going to be more prevalent within myself. Dr. Ken Gordon and his wife Deborah live in Canada, and a few years ago, it was about 10 years ago, when I was actually first up in Apple Valley. I've kind of been around a few times. But we had a conference in Las Vegas. And from Apple Valley to Las Vegas, it's only about 2.5 hours. So I had about 11 people that went to the conference. We created our T-shirts that said, "Consciousness, up yours." So it was, so some people loved it and some people didn't. And Ken Gordon, he's like, "I want one, consciousness, up yours." We do want to up our consciousness, right? I think we still have a few of the T-shirts. People are like, let's do this, let's do it again. Anyway, Ken Gordon spoke at that conference, and I remember it so clearly because I was thinking, isn't that funny how life is? So him and Deborah had gone to a little deli, and it was really crowded, but he noticed there were a couple seats. So after he put his order in, he went and sat down. And then they became people watchers. How many of you love to watch other people? So he's watching other people, and there's this gentleman that probably is unhoused. He's walking with a stick. His clothes are a little raggedy, looked like he hadn't showered for a while. And he came in and kind of leaned on the door, and Dr. Ken got up and said, "Would you like my seat?" And he's like, no, it's all good. And he stood there for a while, and then he saw somebody else get up, and their seat was empty. So he went over to the table, and he asked the gentleman, "May I use this chair?" And the gentleman sitting at that table said, "No." And he said, "Well, is it okay if I just sit here?" And the gentleman at the table said, "No." And the man that was homeless said, "Well, I don't like you either." It's like if we're putting out that, we're going to get that back. So finding a way to just be in that love space. I remember the actress from The Exorcist, Ellen Bernstein. She was the mom in The Exorcist. And in her book, her biography, she talks about where she was doing an acting job in a class. And so they had to go and be homeless for a while, sit on the streets. And she said her knee had been bothering her, and she knew that she wasn't going to be able to walk 9 blocks down to where they were meeting at the end of the experience. And so she knew she was going to have to ask somebody for money. Because if you're pretending to be that in an acting thing, you need to make sure you have nothing with you and you're really in the role. So she said she saw a couple ladies in an outdoor cafe. So she went over and said, "Do either one of you have $1 for the bus?" And one of the ladies didn't even look at her. She just reached in her purse and handed it to her. And so Ellen was like, "Oh, I really love that I got this." So she's excited that she got the $1, but then the feeling just came over her. The sadness that they didn't even recognize her humanity, didn't look her in the eyes and say, "Here you go, good luck to you," or "Namaste," which is the divine in me celebrates and honors the divine in you, whatever you're going through. She said it was so heartbreaking to have somebody just not even acknowledge her existence. So regardless of where we're at, being at that space of peace, acknowledging our own existence, Because as we take that story a little deeper and a little farther, it's like, are we acknowledging our own existence, our own humanity, or do we put everyone else first? Take care of them, take care of them, take care of them, and forget about us. Life is such a beautiful balancing act. My sister's a Libra, like Reverend Gregory is, so I always think of the scales, and it's like the balance, where in life we want to have that balance of we love ourselves and we love others. We're giving to ourselves and we're giving to others, which means we're giving to ourselves and we're giving to others. But the minute we start overextending, just giving here, then we'll fall and we're off balance. So finding ways to love and honor ourselves, and I don't have to fix it for everyone else. I just have to know the divinity of who they are. Because many times we'll see something and it's like, oh, let me fix that. Let me help that person. We talk about this a lot. David Bruner was one of my great teachers up in San Jose, and I just watched to observe how would he handle this. When somebody came to the door of the center and said, do you have any money? And he said, I want to say it's almost like we're not that kind of church. But it comes back to if you give a man a fish, you only feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him forever. So it's like our blessings to you, and you are welcome to come here and learn about how to attract the goodness to you. So making sure that we're not just giving, instead of teaching and training not only everyone else in our lives, but taking time to do that for ourselves. Making sure that we are affirming every day, that we are prayed up, meditated, tuned in. Because when we plug into that power, that's when we know the energy is working. Sometimes we're not consciously thinking about, I'm plugging in, I'm charging up. I'm tuning in to that inner knower that's guiding and directing, making sure that we're following our intuition instead of just closing our ears to it and listening to everyone else. It's like, let me know, just like electricity, if I plug into the electricity, everything's going to work. And I think of spirit, energy, universe, it's always there. It's always there. But if I stand victim to life has just done me wrong and it's just throwing me here and throwing me there, then that means I haven't plugged in to that power that's right there, ready, waiting, always. Dr. Martin Luther King says this: peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek by means by which, let me say it right. Peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at the goal. You know, if we're in that angry, frustrated space where we're just going off, and we haven't settled it down in ourselves, then it's really hard to attract that peace into our life. One of my first teachers, Brian Anderson in Vista, California, we had a class where we were talking about raising up our consciousness, and part of that is releasing the blocks that are blocking our flow. So he said, I want you to take out a piece of paper and let's write a letter to somebody you're angry at. Well, I was really angry at my sister-in-law, so I'm just, dear Shalene, what they did, how it made you feel, what you learned from it, and if you were willing to forgive. I was right. I was so into it. It was giving me permission to just get it out there. So I'm just writing everything. And then he says, okay, what is the first thing that we teach in Science of Mind? There's only one. There's only one. And so he said, all right, I want you to go back to your letter. Anywhere you reference the other person, cross their name out and write in your name. Ew. But for me, it was the great aha. Because if I'm seeing it out there, if I'm attracting it out there, somewhere it's prevalent in me. And so now, if I have some frustration or anger, I do some writing and ripping to let it go, get it out of me. I might have to do it a time or 2 or 10, because we have layers. Or maybe I thought it was healed and then it comes back up. So making sure that we are letting go of the things that are blocking our flow, loving ourselves to the next level, and remembering to turn on that light inside of us, because the light is there. And let me be the light of peace, love, joy, prosperity, and goodness. And so my charge to all of you today is to be conscious. Where will you shine your light today? Because you're shining it here, and it's beautiful and brilliant. So love that light, be that light, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Grant, because I could get going, and talking, and then he's flashing the light, and I'm like, okay, got it. All good. So I know the beautiful Ruth is going to come up, and it is that time for giving, knowing that as we give and support this center, that we always receive, that we're releasing any blocks in our flow and open to that divine goodness. So let's say our giving affirmation together. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Knowing that we divinely give. I always have to read the words because we have a little different one up in Apple Valley. It's about the same, but a few words are different, so it's like, all right. But knowing that there are so many different ways to give, and giving your time, your talent, your treasure to support this center, which is beautiful and amazing. And now I know that Grant is going to run around with the microphone. If you have any questions, comments, treatment requests, words of wisdom. David has something here. Oh, okay.
Hey. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
My cousin's 15 years old, and she's going through her third round of chemo. She was already put in the hospital in between, and they're continuing it. I'm just wondering if you could do a treatment for her. Her name is Lee.
Lee? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that right now. Because I'm feeling that energy, that peace, that love, knowing that we are all plugged in, charged up, tuned in as we close our eyes to any distractions for just a moment. Knowing that Spirit is flowing in, as, and through each and every one of us. That divine Spirit is flowing through me, through David, through Lee, through all of us. As I speak my word and claim that there is a divine revealing of the wholeness that is already here, as we just send that love and that peace and that healing energy and that light to Lee, as well as the world, knowing that everything is just calming down as we send that love, because it's a beautiful wave of peace, individualized spirits. We are sending those waves of love. And in gratitude, I just release my word, knowing all is well. And so it is. Yeah. Anyone else? Comments, questions, words of wisdom, treatment? Okay. Great. Thank you, Beverly.
Hi, I'm Beverly. I had an incident last night that I thought, when you said heal for the last time, and it comes back. Yeah. So my reframing issues is blessings. It was about my older son, David, that I was waiting all day to see. And when he arrived, I was asleep, and he left. And it brought up all the old issues. Mm-hmm. And you know what I love about this, I was going to say program, but this life, visioning the way of life. And my younger son was present, and he said, Mom, I was there when we were growing up, and he was so loving. And the thing that I just love so much is we've been studying, I know about the Enneagram, and the true energy represses their feelings. And I repressed my feelings through the divorce, through the starting over, through everything. And what I love so much, I said to my son this morning, I'm so grateful I can feel my feelings now, because I went through so much without feeling.
Yeah.
So it was just a blessing. And then I read The Science of Mind, and thank you, Reverend Gregory, for the vision a way of life, because I refilled my cup and lifted my spirits. But I was grateful that I could cry, because when I had the divorce, losing my children, I didn't cry. I just went anyway. So I'm so glad to be here. And I've shared with Reverend Valerie for 2 years, I'm not a crier, and I'm taking it up. But I love that I can, use my issue as, to reframe your issues as blessings. To have my younger son there going, Mom, I was there too, it was just so healing. And I thanked him as I left. I said, Robbie, thanks for being so kind to me. And he said, I just love his ways. He said, Mom, of course I'm kind to you. You gave birth to me, darn. So I could leave the house laughing and smiling. But I'm just so grateful, so grateful.
Grateful. Thank you for crying. I love that. It's so funny because my teacher, Dr. Maureen Hoyt, and I filled in for her in Granada Hills a few weeks ago, which was an honor. And when I got done with her class, she said to everyone, was there a week that Valerie didn't cry? And I'm like, no, there wasn't. Because, as we're growing and as we're refreshing ourselves, we have stuff. And so it's that release. Because if we don't release the tears, then it'll go and make our hips bigger. So crying is a good idea. But I love the idea of reframing, because if you have a picture frame and it's not centered, we want to get it centered. And, in this philosophy, we have a tendency to spiritual bypass. Everything's good, everything's okay. And yet, if I'm feeling something, let me bring it up and let me understand, what am I feeling? Because the biggest problem with feelings is sometimes we don't admit it to ourselves. We just stuff it until we're the volcano ready to go off. So the more we can clear things up as soon as it's coming up, it's like, oh, let me cry about this for a while. And sometimes I'll give myself a time limit. Okay, I'm really sad about this, so I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to just really cry and just really be in it. And then I'm going to do the reframing, but I love to go to the 4 questions that Byron Katie asks in her book. Who would you be without your story? Because it's easy to get caught up on stumping. My story used to be, my dad hated me. Is it true? Yes. Is it really true? I don't know. Maybe it felt like it. How does that thought make you feel? It does not make me feel good. Well, then who would you be without that thought? Well, I'd be happy and free, right? So we sometimes make up stories to ourselves to stuff that energy down. And it's somebody else out there where it's like, regardless of what anybody thinks of me, let me be at that space of peace and love and happiness, and let me send out the light of love within myself. So keep reframing, but keep feeling your feelings. Yes.
Thank you for that last bit of comments. That's so beautiful. About being in your story and asking those 4 questions. I love that. Also, I love, Beverly, that you shared that. As much time as I spend with Beverly, and even this morning, I didn't hear any of that sadness. So anyway, it's good to see that. And I was thinking how I say of myself, I cry easily, but then I say, but it ain't easy. It takes a lot out of you. But also thinking of last week when I asked for prayer, and Reverend Catherine was presiding that day, and she prayed, and I felt that it was so meaningful to me, and everything that she said, I connected to what I was feeling, which was really a lot of compassion for my ex-husband's wife and for him in his very slow dying process. It's very painful to both of them, and that I was planning on being there with them last week to help her and didn't go because of COVID, and so all these things I was feeling. And so as Reverend Catherine was praying, I didn't feel like I was crying. It's just all this water was falling out of my eyes,
Wow.
And then she wrote to me saying that she felt that she had failed me because she couldn't really hear what I said, because something about the sound wasn't working. And I thought, well, that's weird. I didn't feel like that at all. You know, it was perfectly wonderful. So, and then in your talk today, I just wanted to say that your idea to focus on the vision is so helpful and does go in so nicely with Reverend Gregory's class that he's teaching and all, and the fact that I'm trying to work through things in my own mind and realizing just hold on to the vision. I don't have to know how that's going to pan out or what I'm supposed to do next or anything. Maybe the next step is helpful, but I don't have to know the steps, you know? So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just listening to you makes me think of our CSL's theme last month was othering, because it's really, those other people over there, those other people over there. Well, there is no other people. We're all part of the one. There's only one. And so if I know there's part of the one, I can be in the curiosity. That's interesting that they are doing what they're doing. And let me focus on the vision of peace, love, harmony, rather than getting into the blame because of those people over there, or because this or that, or something that's different than me. Let me be in the curiosity and the love. Yeah, I think we have another question.
I just want to say how delightful it is to walk in and see you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Very happy. And I saw a little snippet on TV today. It was Eric Roberts, who wrote a memoir, and he's the brother of Julia Roberts. And apparently he was drug addicted for many, many years. And he said something very wise. I don't need to beat myself up. I'm not an addict anymore. Well, I have to struggle with it. I have to still work on it. But yeah. I thought that was so important because I made some mistakes, even though I was doing my utmost, and hurt someone deeply. And I've kind of beat myself up a lot for many years. And it doesn't help, because we're all human, and we do the best. Well, I think most people do the best they can. And it's just so counterproductive, because you can't give up your precious present time to live by dragging all that pain back into your life. You have to go forward if you're really going to get the most and give the most in life. So that's it.
Absolutely, yeah. So letting go of beating ourselves up and being at that space, it's like, you know what, that was in the past. So here I am right now. What direction am I going? And I don't need to drag that baggage with me or drag myself through the mud any more than we already have. So it's like, let that go. Let's reframe. We were learning. We were growing. It's where we were at the time. Sometimes I believe it's like a collective consciousness, and we're helping other people get to another level, or we're helping ourselves get to another level. So it's like, okay, that's in the past. Where am I going from here? Keep that vision in front of me and keep the light full. One more question way back there.
Hi, Reverend Valerie. Glad you're here. What you just said reminded me of something, Reverend Gregory, that you mentioned in one of your first talks, that part of the connecting with spirit and knowing ourselves to be of spirit is to move into the facet of service. And with what Anne just mentioned, part of what can be helpful is when we are moving into the reframing, especially when it's in relationship to another person, sometimes it helps to ask, what ought I to be asking? And the most amazing things come from spirit. And it's one of the ways to get ourselves out of the story and even out of the struggle to get out of the story. And we get that inspiration that sometimes comes easier that way when we move into, how do I serve here? And sometimes it turns out that it's serving kindness to us, and then from there, kindness to someone else.
Yes, beautiful and brilliant, which means in that asking that we sit in the silence and allow the answer, because it's all inside of us and it's flowing through. So trust your intuition, trust your love. And I love that. I think of Mary Morrissey, who says at the center of your plate should be love and service. And if I'm in that space of love and I'm serving, then all is well and right in the world. Yeah. All right. So let's take all of this wonderful, loving energy, the lights that are individualized expression of spirit in this room, knowing that the question today is, where will I shine my light? Starting from the inside out, shining our lights in the world, being that space of peace, love, prosperity, goodness, health, and harmony. Knowing that that is true for each and every person here, that light is expressing brighter and brighter every step, every moment. And in gratitude, I just release my word knowing all is well. And so it is. All right, have the best day ever. Go shine your lights.